From Toledo's news leader, this is WTOL 11, breaking news alert.
The fact is that no one is allowed to harm another person in the name of religion, their cause, their beliefs.
Two people from right here in our area accused of planning out two separate attacks. The targets, a local synagogue and a Toledo bar. But authorities stepped in before anything could have happened. Tonight we have team coverage so you know exactly what investigators say the two suspects were planning, what led up to their arrests, and more on their pasts. We want to start with Tyler Paley at the U.S. Courthouse in downtown Toledo with more information on Damon Joseph. Tyler, what do we know at this point?
Well, Christy, he had guns and ammunition. Court documents provided to WTOL say Joseph took possession of two AR-15 rifles before he was arrested on Friday evening. Investigators say he spent months planning a brutal attack that would target a Jewish synagogue here in Toledo. At this hour, we don't know which synagogue was the target. Joseph caught law enforcement's attention earlier this year when he posted photos of knives and firearms on his social media accounts. Since then, undercover agents have been in communication with Joseph. Documents say he stated he was an ISIS supporter and just over a month ago expressed admiration for the attack at the Tree of Life Synagogue in the Pittsburgh area. All in all, authorities say this could have been a tragic incident if it weren't thwarted.
He described to an undercover employee his technique for spotting on social media what Joseph termed recruits. Alarmingly, Joseph expressed his support for martyrdom operations. And in the wake of the horrific shooting weeks ago at the Pittsburgh area Tree of Life Synagogue, Joseph stated his belief that Jewish people were evil and they got what was coming to them.
Joseph made an initial appearance in federal court at 1 o'clock today before Judge James Knapp. He's being held in detention until his trial begins. This now heads to a grand jury. Now, Joseph's attack was planned down to the very detail. We'll share more about that coming up tonight at 6. For now, our team coverage continues. We're live in downtown Toledo tonight. Tyler Paley, WTOL 11.
Thank you, Tyler. 23-year-old Elizabeth LeCron also arrested and charged, authorities saying she planned several domestic terror events, specifically targeting a Toledo bar. Investigators say she even purchased black powder and screws that she believed were going to be used to make a bomb. Emma Henderson continuing our team coverage with more on LeCron's federal court appearance. Emma?
That's right. In the past hour or so, we've learned that LeCron will remain in custody until further notice. But we do know she faces up to a 10-year prison sentence or a $250,000 fine. According to the criminal complaint, LeCron was purchasing items that are used to assemble a pipe bomb and had been speaking with undercover officers about her wish to bomb the place where she worked. She also wanted to commit a, quote, upscale mass murder at a second-floor bar in Toledo. That bar has still not been identified.
Law enforcement, of course, we say thank you to the public for reporting this individual to us, because without this initial report from a private citizen, law enforcement may not have known about the danger she presented.
We are also learning more about LeCron's correspondence with Dylan Roof, who shot and killed 9 people in a Charleston church and is now on death row. I'll have more on that coming up at 6. Reporting live in downtown, Emma Henderson, WTOL 11.
Thank you, Emma. We want to stress that these events are both unrelated, but both of these terror suspects are from right here in Toledo. Amy Steigerwald has been speaking with people familiar with both of these suspects. Amy, what are you learning about these two now that you've dug it a little deeper?
Well, authorities are not saying much about who these people were, what connection they had to Northwest Ohio, but I've been digging through social media all day and speaking with a few local school districts about their past. Here's what we know so far. Elizabeth LeCron is a graduate of Maumee High School. School officials tell me she graduated in 2013. Her yearbook picture is unavailable. I also spoke with a number of people who worked with Elizabeth in the past or knew her in some way, shape, or form. Some of them worked at the Kroger off Glendale in South Detroit and say she worked there for a period of time as well. Now, I was unable to confirm that with Kroger, but former employees say Elizabeth never showed signs of violence when they knew her. She did, however, deactivate her social media account recently. As for Damon Joseph, limited information information is available. We do know he attended Swanton High School for less than a year. It's unclear why he left, but school officials say he was a student from May 2015 through February of 2016. Now, we'll have more on this story coming up at 5:30, but we want to know what you think about this. Go to our WTOL Facebook page and tell us what you think. We'll share some of your comments coming up live in studio. Amy Steigerwald, WTOL 11.
In continuing our team coverage, Ariel Onstadt joins us live from the Jewish Federation of Greater Toledo with how people are reacting. Ariel.
The flames burn a little brighter at the end of Hanukkah. I've been reaching out to many local Jewish leaders, rabbis, and synagogues represented by the Jewish Federation of Greater Toledo. Like many of us, they're still trying to wrap their minds around a potential thwarted attack at least one of their synagogues. A local imam tells me he is thankful for law enforcement's vigilance.
He sympathized with ISIS, and ISIS is the enemy of all people in America, including Muslims. I mean, in no way we can tolerate any attempt to harm any member from the interfaith community.
Now, the rabbis I've just spoken with over the phone tell me this hits way too close to home. They've just dealt with the emotional turmoil of the Pittsburgh attack. Yet they say they are thankful that the story tonight ends with no lives lost. Reporting live in Sylvania, Ariel Onstadt, WTOL 11.
We want to know what you think about these arrests. Do you feel safe? Just go to WTOL.com/vote right now. We'll go over those results a little later on. And this is a story that will continue to develop. Stick with WTOL 11 for continued coverage. As any new information is released, we'll be sure to let you know here on air, online, and on our news app. Let's get a check of your first alert forecast now. Chief Meteorologist Robert Shields back with us tonight. Welcome back, Robert. What are you tracking for us?
Thank you. Well, this is a familiar view, isn't it? Overcast sky, a little bit of haze out there this evening, and it's chilly. 27 degrees our current temperature. The dew point sits at 21. And here's what we're looking at for the evening. Temperatures hold nearly steady, about 27 or 28 degrees. What we're looking at through the week is a gradual warm up, and it will be warm enough for rain later on in the week. We'll have a close look at that in your full 10-day forecast here in just a bit. Right now, a check on traffic this Monday afternoon. Here is Victoria Idoni.
Thank you, Robert. Good to have you back. We are just ramping up this afternoon rush hour right now, and there is a crash on the map. Here we are, Suter Avenue at Ottawa River Road. That's right by Ottawa Cove. That's your Contrada Law Firm First Alert Traffic.
Interviews underway right now after President Trump announces he's parting ways with White House Chief of Staff John Kelly at the end of the year. Vice President Mike Pence's Chief of Staff Nick Ayers was the leading candidate to replace Kelly, but he withdrew this weekend. The revised Chief of Staff shortlist includes North Carolina Congressman Mark Meadows, Office of Management and Budget Director Mick Mulvaney, and Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker.
We'll be announcing who will be taking John's place. It might be on an interim basis. I'll be announcing that over the next day or two.
All eyes now shift to Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen as the next possible White House departure. John Kelly was her mentor, and there have been rumors the president has been unhappy with her performance in the past. Britain's Brexit plan plunged deeper into chaos today as the Prime Minister called off a key vote on her plan to leave the European Union. Theresa May is now under pressure to try to renegotiate the deal. If European Union leaders won't budge, Britain could face a disorderly Brexit with no plan at all. The European Union's top court has ruled Britain can change its mind over Brexit, boosting hopes of people who want to stay in the EU that the process can be reversed. A new youth development park is coming to the Old South End. This made possible by a partnership with the City of Toledo and the Cal Ripken Senior Foundation. The Ripken Foundation facility at Danny Thomas Park will be the central location for the YMCA of Greater Toledo and the Believe Center programs. It's a $2 million investment in the neighborhood, and the complex is expected to be completed by late next summer. There are 82 different Ripken facilities across the United States, and this will be the only one in Ohio. Now, we told you in August a longtime home serving the poor and elderly was going up for sale, and now Little Sisters of the Poor Sacred Heart Home has a new owner. Catholic organization CHI Living Communities bought the property. The new name will be the Gardens of St. Francis. The transition is expected to happen in February. A little can go a long way. What you could be doing right now to help your kids in the future. And a warning after a Michigan woman doesn't come home after taking the dog for a walk.
The holiday season can be difficult for those who are struggling with addiction. I'm Amanda Fay. I'll introduce you to a man who's celebrating his first sober holiday season in years and the message he has for others.
From Toledo's news leader, this is your First Alert weather forecast.
Boy, the cold weather is certainly here, and over the next couple of days, going to hang in there with highs in the 30s, but I don't think we'll see any snow at all. And in fact, by late week, it'll be warm enough for rain, and we may pick up rain on several days heading into the weekend. Current temperatures are really chilly, and you zoom down here to the east and the mid-Atlantic, and it's very cold here, of course, in the wake of that snowstorm. And locally here, with an overcast sky, it's been colder in the south edge of our viewing area than it's been up here to the north. 23 is your current reading down there in Findlay with an overcast sky and a little breeze kicking up. It won't get too much colder tonight, maybe just a few degrees or so. And here's your hour-by-hour forecast. Tomorrow's going to be a relatively quiet day. If you luck out, you'll get a few peaks of sunshine. The breeze kicks in from the west-southwest, and afternoon highs will again be in the 30s. So a little warm up. It's on hold until later this week, and we're not having to make any adjustments to our going forecast from the First Alert weather team. So tomorrow, look for 30 degrees by the noon hour, and an afternoon high maybe makes the middle 30s. Add a little bit of a breeze to that. It should only be slightly warmer in the Toledo area than what we had out there today. Now, come Wednesday, you'll see a 30% chance of precipitation. Here's what we're looking at on Wednesday. Temperatures warm above freezing, and by late in the day, a chance of a little light rain. It'll still be cold enough that maybe a few snowflakes could mix in, but we're not talking much precipitation there at all. So if you do have travel plans Wednesday evening, don't be worried about that one. Then it's warm enough for rain. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday highs will be in the 40s there and extending out through 10 days. We don't see any rough weather. In fact, some more warm weather heading into our latter end of the 10-day forecast, and no alert days up for you at all through the next 10 days. So just a little bit wet later in the week.
So if you've been delaying putting lights up and it's supposed to warm up, maybe wait a little bit longer for that?
You probably look for a dry day.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe on the weekend.
one in there, one or two.
Okay,
Sure.
Great. Thank you, Robert. Weeks later and still not allowed back in their homes. The latest from Alaska after a massive earthquake hits.
Today's arrest shows, again, the excellent relationship between local and federal law enforcement in the city of Toledo.
Two people from right here in our area arrested suspected of planning terroristic attacks. Let us know with today's arrests how safe you feel. Vote right now at WTOL.com/vote. Dies after drowning in a lake near her house. She was trying to save her dog, who police say fell through the ice during a walk. Tracy Cashman is the kind of person to help anyone in peril. That's what her family remembers about her. They say she took the dog out for a walk, and when she didn't come back, and the dog did, soaking wet, they knew something was wrong.
And you step off and it just drops. She probably didn't even think about it. If that dog was struggling, she was gonna save her dog.
Cashman leaves behind 3 children. Authorities say this accident serves as a reminder for people to be careful, well, out on that ice. People in Alaska still not able to get back into their homes after an earthquake hits. Many may not be able to ever get back inside because of serious structural damage. Tags are being put on doors saying the homes are unsafe to occupy.
Cracks that falls all the way up to the ceiling, and then fireplace is there, and there's a decent sized one running from this corner of this door all the way up to the ceiling.
Right now, there's no way of knowing when or if these houses can be repaired. A tragic natural disaster inspires an incredible gesture of goodwill. A California couple donated nearly everything they own to firefighters who lost their homes in the Camp Fire. Kim Ragenstein is a former emergency responder and helped crews during the fire. After seeing many firefighters lose their homes, he and his wife rented a truck, filled it with nearly everything in their home, and donated it to local firefighters.
I think it's good that if we can donate everything we have, we'll start over. They're starting over, so it's going to be a pretty good thing. It'll be a good memory for us and how we helped.
The couple is now moving to North Carolina to start fresh. A little at a time could go a long, long way. What you could be doing right now to help your kids out in the long run. That's next in tonight's Stretching Your Dollar.
But first, let's take a look at our roadways. We are tracking one crash right now, but other than that, it's pretty quiet out there. Here we are, Suter Avenue at Ottawa River Road. Police are on the scene. And let's take a look at 75 northbound at that DeSalle Bridge. You see a slight slowdown there, but nothing too serious. That's your Control Law Firm First Alert Traffic. And now we are keeping an eye on what you'll be paying at pumps. Our gas gauge shows prices lower right here in our area. Let's take a look at where these lowest prices are at. $1.98 right now at the Circle K, that's Secord and Whiteford Center Road as you head up to Michigan. $1.97 at the Circle K at South Wheeling and Star Avenue. And if you have that membership, $1.91 at the Northern Costco there on Central Avenue. Remember, you can always find these prices on the gas tab on our WTOL news page or on our free WTOL 11 app.
Buying a Christmas tree might cost you more than it has in years past. That's because a national tree shortage has caused an increase in prices on firs, spruces, and pines in some areas of the country. The National Christmas Tree Federation says the shortage mostly stems from the Great Recession in 2008, when holiday shoppers weren't feeling particularly festive. Growers responded by planting fewer trees to sell. There are places to get a real tree here in Northwest Ohio, but do you know how to pick the perfect tree? Experts say take note of the size of the branches. Some hold ornaments better than others. You will also want to consider where the tree is coming from. Sometimes businesses will paint trees to look healthier.
You want the tree to be a straight trunk so when you get it home it stands properly. Also, you want to make sure you keep water in the base of the tree stand to keep it fresh through the seasons.
Picking a tree is also a great experience for the family to spend time together during the holidays. Many of us want our kids to go to college, and most people don't have the means to rely on a trust fund. There is something you can do a little at a time to build toward the future. Victoria Idoni here with tonight's Stretching Your Dollar.
Thanks, Christy. It used to be that your great aunt, twice removed, would order you savings bonds with high interest rates that would mature over time. That type of giving has become less common over the years, in part because the rate of return is lower and can vary. A lot has changed with interest rates and the market even just over the past 10 years. So how can you plan for your child or grandchild's future in a way that's best for your family?
You make what you can, and I didn't have a lot given to me in my future, so I want to give everything I can to him.
Dad Ryan has a little boy and another on the way any day now. He is like many of us, looking at the high expensive college education and wondering, how am I going to make this happen? Marty Sutter, president and CEO of Genoa Bank, provides us with some advice tailored to any financial situation.
There's no right or wrong in what plan you do. What's wrong is not starting it. Be disciplined, start, come up with a game plan, sit down with a financial representative, your banker, and come up with a plan.
Here's 3 tips you can use no matter where the decimal point on your paycheck falls. 1, as Marty said, stay disciplined. No matter how much you put aside, as long as you regularly make deposits, it can add up to a lot. 2, start early, and it's never too late to begin. 3, try to keep those regular deposits within your means. Obviously, you want to ease the financial burden in the future, but you don't want to overextend yourself now. If you make sure you have enough cash to cover your daily needs, you won't be tempted to dip into the money you worked so hard to save.
The biggest thing that holds people back is they think they have to have a lot of money to do it. They don't. You know, if you only make $100 and you put $5 or $10 in, that works. And there are so many stories in life with people that didn't make tremendous amount of money, but had a tremendous amount of wealth at the end for their grandkids, for their kids, for whatever, because they were disciplined in their savings patterns.
Now experts say start simple. Open a free savings account and have an automatic deposit come straight out of your paycheck so you never even miss that money. Then if after a while that system's working for you, consider moving those funds to a certificate of deposit or 521 college account to maximize those benefits. For Stretching Your Dollar, I'm Victoria Idoni.
All right, good tips for us. Thanks. A new creditcards.com report says New Mexico has the highest credit card debt burden in the country. The average balance there about $8,300. Louisiana and West Virginia followed. States with the lowest credit card debt: Hawaii, Utah, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Massachusetts, where the average balance was $7,994. And terror attacks planned for right here in our area. Our team coverage continues next. How local leaders and religious groups are responding.
Here is today's 1-800-HANSON's weather quiz question. In the song Frosty the Snowman, what made Frosty come to life? Was it his corncob pipe, his eyes made out of coal, or that old silk hat? The correct answer is coming up.
This is WTOL 11 Breaking News Alert.
2 people arrested and facing very serious federal charges tied to planned terror attacks. Breaking news we've been on top of all day for you. 21-year-old Damon Joseph was arrested on Friday and charged with 1 count of attempting to provide material support to ISIS. 23-year-old Elizabeth Lecron also arrested and charged with plotting a violent attack unrelated. We were there as the 2 suspects faced a federal court judge this afternoon. Investigators say Joseph spent months planning a brutal attack that would target a Jewish synagogue here in Toledo. It's not clear what synagogue that is. Lecron is accused of purchasing materials to make a bomb for use in a domestic terrorist attack, likely on a Toledo bar. One, we're told, has 2 stories, but which one has not been made clear. Toledo Mayor Wade Kapsakavich releasing a statement in response to today's terrorism arrests, saying in part, on behalf of the citizens of Toledo, I would like to thank the FBI, Homeland Security, the Toledo Police Department, and all law enforcement agencies who played a role in helping to prevent a potential catastrophe. Terrorism plans stopped right here in Toledo. One of the targets, a local place of worship. Ariel Onstadt live tonight at the Jewish Federation of Greater Toledo with reaction from the Jewish community. Ariel?
Thank God, God is on our side. That's how a local rabbi answered the phone when I called him earlier. The entire Jewish community still processing a thwarted terrorist attack at least one of our local synagogues. The Jewish Federation of Greater Toledo releasing a statement thanking our local FBI and law enforcement for their outstanding work. That statement reads, in part, keeping people safe is our highest priority. All threats to our community are taken very seriously, and we continue to coordinate with law enforcement diligently to keep us safe. Events like this remind us that we must always be vigilant, but we will not be intimidated from living our lives as Jews. Now, the rabbis I've spoken to say this entire situation hits way too close to home, yet they say they are so grateful that their communities no longer face imminent danger. Reporting live in Sylvania, Ariel Onstadt, WTOL 11.
This story is consuming social media right now, and we've been keeping an eye on what you've been saying. Amy Steigerwald has a few of the more popular comments. Amy, what have you been seeing on there?
Well, Christy, just like you said, the comments just keep coming in. Many people are shocked this happened so close to home. Some of you are praising the FBI and law enforcement agencies who acted on this and were able to prevent anyone from being hurt. Others are simply shocked, especially those who knew of these people. Both of them have direct connections to Northwest Ohio, making situations like this even more frightening. Again, we want to hear from you. If you knew either of these 2 people, reach out to us here at WTOL. Reporting live in studio, Amy Steigerwald, WTOL 11.
And we asked you earlier how safe you feel after today's terror attack arrest. Now, here's what you said so far. Many of you are leaning toward still feeling safe. This is a story that will continue to develop. Stick with WTOL 11 for continued coverage. As any new information is released, we will be sure to let you know here on air, online, and on our news app. Let's get to your first alert forecast right now. Robert, it's been cold, but we could be heading for a warm-up.
Sure thing. Later in the week, it is going to warm up and be warm enough for rain. Even though tonight it's only 27 degrees, we have a light south breeze. We have an overcast sky. With that, temperatures should be remaining steady here through the course of the evening and into the overnight hours. Late in the week, we do expect rain to move in and a nice little warm up that's not only going to last a couple of days, we think it's going to last 6, 7, 8 days at a minimum. You'll see that forecast coming up stretched out through 10 days. That includes the upcoming weekend.
All right, thank you, Robert. Right now, parts of the southeast are digging out from a massive winter storm. The same system that brought heavy rain, flooding, and even snow to Texas and the southern plains last week dumped sleet and double-digit snowfall in parts of the Carolinas over the weekend. Authorities say road conditions remain dangerous and continue to urge residents to stay home.
The state of emergency for North Carolina remains in effect. And with cold temperatures today and freezing nights ahead, the snow and ice and the danger may not go away as quickly as they came.
Thousands of flights in and out of North Carolina airports have been grounded due to the treacherous conditions, including all the ones scheduled to go out of Toledo Express.
Well, our flights might be in trouble right now, but our roads are in relatively good shape, although there is something new I want to let you know about. If you travel in or through Putnam County, we do have a crash and it's blocking the roadway right now. That's Ohio 613, shut down in both directions right now from 15 over to Road 18. That's your Contrada Law Firm First Alert Traffic.
All right, thank you, Victoria. Sad news for you. 5 children are dead after a house fire overnight in Youngstown. Firefighters say 2 children died inside the home, while 3 were rescued but died at local hospitals. Firefighters confirmed the children's ages as 9, 3, 2, and 2 one-year-old twins. A memorial has been set up outside the home. The mother made it out of the home but was injured. Still no word on what caused the fire, but an investigation is underway. For those who are battling addiction, trying to stay sober this time of year can be particularly difficult. Amanda Fay talks with a local man who's celebrating his first sober holiday season in more than a decade.
I had a problem with drugs and alcohol.
Dustin Warner has been sober for 6 months. He heard about Racing for Recovery on the news, and something finally clicked.
I was sick of living like that, you know what I mean? Sick of being reliant on an inanimate object, whether it's drugs or alcohol.
Dustin says his mindset has totally changed. Instead of feeling powerless, he's in control and thankful for this holiday season.
This will be my first Christmas with my son and my family, and you know, I'm just excited. You know, I'm a dad now.
While Dustin isn't concerned about temptations this holiday, Todd Crandall with Racing for Recovery says it can be a tough time of year for recovering addicts. He says it's all about attitude.
If you tell yourself the holidays are going to be hard and they're going to be a struggle, and they're going to be. But if you go into it with a changed attitude of, you know, I've survived my drug and alcohol addiction. This is the first time I'm going to enjoy the holidays with sobriety and be around healthy, productive, sober people. That's a whole other mindset to have, and it works.
Crandall says surround yourself with like-minded people and avoid places that serve alcohol. If you feel a loved one may be struggling with addiction, don't be combative. Instead, ask questions about how their life is going and how you can help them reach their goals and enjoy the season, like Dustin.
I'm just never going back to that.
For WTOL 11, I'm Amanda Fay.
A ribbon cutting for a major investment in Maumee today. Ronnie's Ford Lincoln moved from its location on Reynolds Road near Dussel to Arrowhead Park, just off I-475. A $14 million investment gave the dealership a new 59,000 square foot facility.
We've got a lot more traffic coming in off the highway. They're already starting to build a hotel right next door to us, so I assume we've spurred some economic development. It's just a great thing for the city of Maumee.
The new location also has the possibility of 30 new employees. Let's take a look outside. Looks like a pretty night. It is cold out there, but we could have a warm-up, but also maybe some rain in our future. We're going to hear from our Chief Meteorologist, Robert Shields, just after this quick break.